at this point I feel like I'm just positively drowning in books. I have recently built up a little bookshelf over there. Not very effective when you keep buying more, is it really? So, would you have guessed it, I'm here with another book haul. I want this to be like a massive end of the year book haul with the intention of me to not buy any more for a while. But let's be real, I can't hold myself accountable to that. It's not going to happen. However, that's the intention, that's the kind of outlook that I want for this end of the year book haul. I don't want to buy any more right now. I've done some damage. So, let's start off with the stuff on NetGalley. I have tried to make like a semblance of organisation, order, some kind of situation here. I don't know how effective that's going to be, but we're going to find out. So, I'll try not to spend too long on each book because there is a whole heap to get through, I'm not going to lie. So the first section, NetGalley approvals. So, Can You Sign My Tentacle by Brandon O'Brien. Brandon O'Brien is a Trinidad and Tobagoan? He's from Trinidad and Tobago and he is a games designer. What else does he do? A writer, performance poet, teaching artist. And this collection of stories is described as Cthulhu meets hip-hop. It's a collection of poems, that flips the eldritch genre upside down. It's Lovecraftian inspired and the stories and ideas and concepts are reversed. As O'Brien asks the reader to see blackness as radically significant. Explores the monsters we know and the ones that hide behind racism, sexism and violence, resulting in poems that are both comic and cosmic. I've already read this one, so if you're interested in more in-depth thoughts and feelings about the book, then definitely check out my wrap-up. Okie dokie, so the next book is currently a current read and that is How I Became a Tree by Sumana Roy, and this is sort of like a nature writing memoir situation. Basically our author, our narrator, is drawn to trees and their wisdom, the way of being, their kind of simplicity but their strength and complexity as well. She meditates on forests and plants and time and self in the big scheme of them and trying to basically hone in that lifestyle of a tree. As I say, currently reading this. I'm on track to finish it at the end of November, so you should hear my thoughts in my November wrap up as well. Next up I have so this is a cookbook. I only kind of downloaded it because biasm, it's from my cousins. So this is Natural Flavour, and this is quick and easy plant-based Caribbean recipes by Craig and Sean McAnuff, who are my cousins on my mum's side, my McAnuff family. Yeah, they have like they have a cooking situation called Original Flavour. This one is a vegan kind of look at some of the more traditional Caribbean style of food. So yeah, definitely check that out if you're interested. Got to kind of shamelessly plug my cousins there. Then I have The Herd by Emily Edwards. And this one is, I think it's a thriller. That's how I thought it to be anyway. So let's see what this one is about, because for the life of me I can't really remember. So we're following Elizabeth and Bryony, who are polar opposites, but their unexpected friendship has always worked. They're best friends and godmothers to each other's daughters because they trust that the safety of their children is on both of their priorities. But what if their choice could harm your own child? Little do they know that they differ radically over one very important issue. And when Bryony, afraid of being judged, tells what is supposed to be a harmless white lie before a child's birthday party, the consequences are more catastrophic than either of them could ever have imagined. So it sounds like it's going to be like a domestic drama thriller kind of thing, so let's see what that's about. Then I have here The Ivory Key by Ashaya Rahman. And the cover itself looked absolutely stunning. And I think it's a fantasy. Where's the actual description? That would be very helpful if I could find it. The only description is just basically since the debut launch, which is annoying. I want to know more about it. But it is a fantasy from reviews that I'm looking at. It's a twisty dazzling adventure that people absolutely fell in love with. It's a YA epic fantasy story centering around siblings, a secret society, a hunt for lost magic, and 4 siblings who are each hiding their own secret. The last book that I have approved from NetGalley of late is The Shadow People by Graham Masterton, and this one sounded really interesting. I think the cover is more than anything what intrigued me, because I don't read a lot of detective police novels, and this one seemed to be centered on that. So it says Jerry Padot and Jamelia Patel hunt down a ritualistic cult inspired by Neolithic cannibals in the new chilling horror from Graham Masterton. And I think the cult part probably drew me in even more. So Detective Sergeant Jamelia Patel and Detective Constable Jerry Padot have reluctantly acquired a reputation in the Metropolitan Police for their ability to tackle bizarre and apparently supernatural crimes. Now they have been called back together after 3 bodies are found in a London basement. Bodies which have been taken apart, roasted and eaten. The markings on the wall suggest this might have been done by some kind of religious cult, and as more people are kidnapped and cannibalised, Patel and Pardo realise they are dealing with a group of devil worshippers invoking an ancient god who has not been worshipped since the Neolithic times. Neolithic age. Gosh, we'll get there in the end. That sounds really cool. It sounds like this is a continuing series. I don't know if you necessarily need to read other books with these characters, but it doesn't seem like you have to. But yes, those are the NetGalley books. Before I get on to physical books, I just want to show that I mentioned in a recent reading vlog that I was waiting on some art prints to come in. One of them arrived, I've already got it up there and I showed you guys in that vlog. And the second one is here. It's absolutely stunning. It's from, oh, it doesn't have a little, oh, here it is. Oh, it's got a sticker at the back as well. It's from Ryan Connolly Designs on Etsy, and it's a book stack. You decide which, is it 10 books? Which 8 books? Yeah, you decide which 8 books you want as their spine showing, and these are some of my favourites that I really wanted framed, and I absolutely love it. We've got The Bear and the Nightingale, we've got Lanny, we've got Every Heart a Doorway, we've got The Final Empire, we've got Mrs. Death, we've got Coraline, we've got Sabriel, and we've got The Mermaid of Black Conch. So yeah, very much love that. Cannot wait to put that up. I need to get a new frame actually, because I've recently repurposed the frame that I was originally going to use for this for something else, so I need to buy a new one. Right, let's get on to physical books. The bulk of these now are from Vinted, so I will show you those in no particular order. One of these actually I think I got from Amazon because I couldn't find the particular edition I was after on Vinted. But anyway, I got the first and the third book in the, I don't know what the series is called. The Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, I guess, by Laini Taylor. Never read these before, but I've had the second book in my collection for the longest time. It's our plan, mine and Deborah from Hills of Books on Bookstagram. We're going to be reading these together come the new year, so I thought let me just grab the books that I was missing, because I obviously needed the first book, and I thought, well, I might as well get the third book. These don't match the sequel that I've got, and the one I've got is a really weird, oh, I can't reach, I don't want to knock my candle. It's a really weird, like, tall paperback edition I got from, like, I don't know, I think a charity shop or something good few years ago. But I did like these covers, so I thought, well, might as well get those. So we've got book 1, which is The Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and book 3, which is The Dreams of Gods and Monsters. And do you actually know, I really don't know what this is about. So let's find out. I'm sure everyone else knows about it, I'm just so not clued into these things. Anyway, in general, Karu has managed to keep her 2 lives in balance. On the one hand, she's a 17-year-old art student in Prague. On the other hand, errand girl to a monstrous creature who is the closest thing she has to a family. Raised half in our world and half in elsewhere, she has never understood Brimstone's dark work, buying teeth from hunters and murderers, nor how she came into his keeping. She is a secret even to herself, plagued by the sensation that she isn't whole. Now the doors to elsewhere are closing, and Karu must choose between the safety of her human life and the dangers of a nearly destroyed world that may hold the answers she has always sought. I'm really intrigued. I love that this gives me Pan's Labyrinth vibes. I don't know if anyone else thinks that. I'm intrigued to find out what kind of beasts and monsters and creatures this discusses and uses, and I don't know how I've been so clueless for this long, but I'm very excited by this and I'm looking forward to our buddy read. I hope we continue it and enjoy the series together. And then I think everything else that I've got right beside me here are from Vinted as well. So this one just came in actually. This is another Junji Ito book, and this is Shiver, which is selected stories. Took a little while to get here, but it's here nevertheless. I have it in my hand and I love this blue cover background. It doesn't look as similar to the other collections like the binds up of Gaia and Uzumaki and Tomi that I have, but still nice hardback one. So this includes 9 of Junji Ito's best short stories as selected by the author himself, presented with accompanying notes and commentary. That's really interesting. So I'm going to assume there's some stories in here that I would have already read, maybe as bonus content in the other collections that I've been reading the last couple of months, but I don't mind. So it says here, an arm peppered with tiny holes dangles from a sick girl's window. After an idol hangs herself, balloons bearing the faces of their destined victims appear in the sky. An amateur film crew hires an extremely individualistic fashion model and faces a real bloody ending. An offering of 9 fresh nightmares for the delectation of horror fans. Got a bit tongue-tied there. I am very excited to get to this. So I also bought a trilogy of books from a seller on Vinted, and I got the A Darker Shade of Magic books. I have been wanting to read Rhea Schwab. I feel like on paper she really is an author for me, but I think because I think that it's put me off reading more of her. To this moment I've only read her 2 A City of Ghost books, the first one and the second one obviously, but I really do want to delve into her adult fantasy, and this sounds like something I would enjoy. I think it's supposed to be like superheroes, supervillains, like that sort of vibe, and I love superheroes and supervillains, so I don't really know why I've not read this before. So I think it goes A Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and I think the final book is A Conjuring of Light. So let's see. Kel is one of the last travellers, magicians with a rare ability. Oh, I just spewed all of that. And that was the duology that I was thinking of, vicious and vengeful. Nevertheless, magicians, I like magicians. Okay, right, we're on a roll, let's carry on. Kel is one of the last travellers, magicians with a rare ability to travel between parallel universes, connected by one magical city. There's Grey London without magic and ruled by the Mad King George III, Red London where magic is revered and where Kel was raised alongside the heir to the Empire, White London where people fight to control the remaining magic and magic fights back, and once there was Black London. Ooh, I'm very excited. And I feel like the books get chunkier and chunkier as they go along, so hoping to love those and fall in love with her adult fantasy. Next up I've got a teeny tiny book here. I wanted to try some Shirley Jackson. I did want to try Haunted on Hill House and We Have Always Lived in the Castle, but I was just on Vinted and this is the one that I saw, so I picked it up. And this is called The Tooth. It's a very tiny little book, the Modern Classics Penguin edition. And it says that it's the creeping unease. My cat's trying to bite me. Doing the creeping unease of lives squandered and the bloody glee of lives lost is chillingly captured in these 5 towers of casual cruelty by a master of the short story, portraying insanity, disturbing encounters, trouble in children, and a sinister lottery. What are you doing? Shirley Jackson's work has an unmatched power to unnerve and unsettle. Ooh, just a little taste for my first time reading any of her books. Might be enjoyable. Okay, and I want to say that I got these 4 books from a same seller. I got them at the same time because I really wanted to pick up this book, because again, me and Deborah are going to be reading Zordea Cordova's what is the series called? Incendiary series, or whatever it's going to be, a trilogy, duology, I'm not too sure. But I think I mentioned last time when I hauled that book actually that I hadn't finished her what did she call it, the Brooklyn Bruja series. So I picked up the sequel, and that is Bruja Born. And as I say, this is a sequel to the Brooklyn Bruja series trilogy, I think it is. First one being Labyrinth Lost, which I read years ago through NetGalley. So I just want to dive back into it. We are following, I believe, a young girl. Can't remember her name for the life of me. I don't know if it's going to follow the same characters, but basically she's not interested in the magic. I believe she has magic, her whole family has magic, and she does something awful on her, I can't remember if it's her birthday or her like awakening of magic, or if the two things are combined. And yeah, it's a big epic drama from there. She loses everyone she loves and it's just intense. So I remember really enjoying it. So let me continue on with the sequel, finish that up as quickly as I can, so then we can do our buddy read. And then I picked up The Hill We Climb, an inaugural poem by Amanda Gorman, forwarded by Oprah Winfrey. I had never heard of this. I don't think I have. I want to say I recognise the cover, but I'm not too sure. But this one says, on the 20th of January 2021, Amanda Gorman spoke a message of truth and hope to millions. Aged 22, she delivered a poetry reading at the inauguration of US President Joe Biden. Her poem, The Hill We Climb, addressed the country and reached across the world, a call for a brave future. This special edition marks that poem and offers us courage, consolation, and the inspiration to make a change. That sounds awesome. Oh, and it's a lovely red cover underneath. Right, I will look forward to reading that. I also picked up The Farm. This is one that I've been interested in picking up for a while. I was kind of most likely going to get it from the library, but then I saw it like together and I just thought, let me grab it now. And this one says, ambitious businesswoman Mei Yu runs Golden Oaks, a luxury retreat transferring the fertility industry. There, women can get the very best of everything: organic meals, fitness trainers, daily massages, and big money, provided they dedicate themselves to producing the perfect baby for someone else. Jane is a young immigrant in search of a better future. Living in a cramped dorm with her baby daughter and a shrewd Aunt Ate, she sees an unmissable chance to change her life, but at what cost? Oh, that sounds really eerie. I feel like it's kind of dystopian in tone, but I'm intrigued to see how this goes. It also reminds me, I swear there was a cult called The Farm. It's ringing some bells. And then I also picked up this one. It's one that's been kind of low-key on my radar for a long while, and I believe it's translated from the French, you know. So it is A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos, or Dabos, I'm not too sure. And this is the first book in the Mirror Visitor. I think it's supposed to be middle grade. I'm not too sure, but it's quite beefy for a middle grade. So we are following a mix of awkward misfits and misunderstood geniuses. Ophelia cares little about appearances or other people's opinions of her. She possesses two special gifts: an unrivaled talent for reading the past of objects and the ability to travel through mirrors. Her peaceful, if somewhat dull, existence on the Ark of Anima is interrupted when she is promised in marriage to Thorn, a taciturn and influential member of a powerful clan from a distant Ark, the cold and icy pole. Ophelia must follow her fiancé to the towering city of Cité Celeste, where nobody can be trusted. There, in the company of her inscrutable future husband, Ophelia slowly realises that she is a pawn in a political game that will have far-reaching ramifications not only for her, but for her entire world. Perhaps this isn't middle grade, it's sounding a bit more grown up. And yes, it's translated from the French by Hilgard Seroli. Sorry, I do apologise if I'm butchering that name. Right, so those are all the vintage books. I'm pretty sure that's all of them. I waited for them to all come in. Next book I've got, I recently had my very first fairy loot and I did an unboxing on that. If you're interested, I will link that video up there. If you do not want to know what October's fairy loot was, please skip ahead a couple of minutes. But the book I got in here, really excited to give a go. I'd never heard of it, but I recognised the author, and that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and this sounds so much fun. It says, how far would you go for happy ever after? And it's a YA fantasy, absolutely stunning cover. I'll show you the details a bit better in that fairy loot box where I open it up properly and everything. But just a brief synopsis. For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in happily ever after, until she learns that the love of her life is about to marry another and her dreams are shattered. Desperate to stop the wedding and heal heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. It sounds so much fun. I feel like it's going to have like a lot of insta love, but I feel like it could work in this story. I'm very much intrigued, so hoping to get to that soon. Alright then, I have this massive stack of books over here. I recently I did like a little vlog as well, so if you're interested I will link that. I went to a massive book warehouse with my friend Grace, and I believe one weekend every month they open to the public, and it's like 2 floors of floor to ceiling books. New books, hardcover copies, like whatever you can look for. Like they've even got like academic books like GCSE grade level and all that sort of stuff. They've got children's, they've got adult, they've got so much, you name it, it's probably there. And so of course I went a bit berserk. The greatest thing about this is the books that I got are heavily discounted. The price that came up to this was worth £456, but if you want to know how much I ended up spending and how much I managed to get it for, watch the vlog, because I was absolutely stupefied. So I sort of have also grouped these some sort of way. I bought some gifts, like children's books for some of like the nieces and nephews in my life, and then, you know, I sort of tried to group it. I don't know, we'll get to it. So let's start with those children's books. I got a collection of Little Miss books. This is the Super Library by Roger Hargreaves, and it includes Little Miss Sunshine, Little Miss Naughty, Little Miss Giggles, Little Miss Chatterbox, Little Miss Trouble, and Little Miss Helpful. So nice selection of little books there. I also picked up, now some of these admittedly I am keeping for myself, but some of them are gifts for the kids. I also picked up King Mouse, which is written by Carrie Fagan and illustrated by Dana Surfling. The illustrations of this is what got me, and I think this is one of the ones that I'll probably keep. But that sketchy style, like kind of smudged charcoal, I love. It's so pretty. And look at that shiny golden foil. Oh, I love it. So basically a tiny mouse finds a tiny crown. It's a perfect fit. He likes being king, but what if he isn't the only crown in the forest? Interesting. Let's see. I picked up some other ones. I got Come On Baby Duck by Nick Ward, and I picked up a couple of Winnie the Pooh books. Accidentally got 2 the same, but there's people I can give it to. So I have Piglet Meets a Heffalump and 2 copies of Piglet Does a Very Grand Thing. And I also got this one, which is one that Grace recommended because it is written by a child psychologist, and the way it's written, it's like very interactive, and it's got in brackets like yawn, and so you yawn, and it's got brackets like insert child's name, and then you do that. It's so cool. And this is called The Rabbit Who Wants to Fall Asleep by Carl Johan Thorsen Erlin. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, but this one says it's the groundbreaking #1 bestseller. Are you tired of the same bedtime battle night after night? Are you worn out while your child is still raring to go? It's time to try this innovative, child-tested bedtime story. And this technique developed by Carl Johan Thorsen Erlin, a life coach with a background in psychology. It's as easy as reading a simple story with special language that helps children relax and fall asleep. The story works perfectly for either nap time or bedtime. And then the story itself. When Roger can't fall asleep, Mummy Rabbit takes him to see Uncle Yawn, who knows just what to do. So yeah, this seems really cool. Like, I love the idea. Let me just give you an example and show you what I mean by the brackets. So like, just briefly, kind of looks like that. Yeah, so looking forward to giving myself a little bedtime story. Oh, I also picked up some Secret Garden note cards. I just thought it would be nice to kind of use in my reading journal and things like that, just to decorate the pages a little bit. And same sort of purpose really. I got some stickers. These ones are vampires, 12 large vinyl stickers, scratch and splash proof. And I think these are the stickers that it comes with on the back. Okay, so let's start properly with, I want to say this is my YA section, possibly, like my YA, oh god, is it? So I don't know what sections really they are until I grab them out, but this kind of looks like my little collection of adult romance I wanted to try, and I've been wanting to read these books for ages, and that is the Brown's Sisters books. So I've got Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. I think a lot of people probably know what this series is about, so I will speed through those ones. Alright, I got a big chunky selection of classics, a lot of sci-fi classics, so we will go through those. So I picked up 2 of Octavia E. Butler's books, and I think she's kind of described as speculative fiction. So I got Kindred, which I believe is following this woman in some sort of modern time, 1976, modern enough, who is thrust back as a slave in the 1815s. I don't know if it's a dream, if it's actually time travel or what, but it sounds fantastic. She meets Rufus on the Maryland plantation. He's drowning, she saves his life, and it will happen again and again. So it seems a bit like a Groundhog Day sort of vibe. I think this sounds really cool. I'm hoping to really love it. Then I have Parable of the Sower. I remember having this on like NetGalley, but it was like a graphic novel version. I didn't realise, and I don't think I got around to reading it in the end, but I would like to read it now. This says, America is a place of chaos where violence rules and only the rich and powerful are safe. Sounds familiar. Lauren Olamina, a young woman with the extraordinary power to feel the pain of others as her own, records everything she sees of this broken world in her journal. Then one terrible night, everything alters beyond recognition, and Lauren must make her voice heard for the sake of those she loves. Soon her vision becomes reality, and her dreams of a better way to live again gain the power to change humanity forever. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. That sounds amazing. Wow. Okay, I also picked up some science fiction masterworks editions. Just going to whiz through these ones. I'm slowly collecting them. Don't necessarily know what they're about. I'm just looking out for specific authors. So we've got a George R.R. Martin here. This one is Dying of the Light. And that's how that looks. You can pause if you'd like to read the synopsis. I've also got 2 Philip K. Dick ones. This is Dr. Blood Money. I liked the cover, simple as that, and I liked Philip K. Dick's Valis, which I have a which I have a review I think on, yeah. And then I also picked up Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I have been wanting to read this because I keep meaning to watch Blade Runner, and I know this is Blade Runner is based off of that. Also have A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. I tried watching this years ago. I don't think I was like, I don't know, mature enough maybe. I didn't really, we watched it at a sleepover, and I don't think any of us were interested, and we didn't get halfway through. It was kind of disturbing, and yeah, I want to give it a go now, so I'll try the book first, I guess. I have here The Collector by John Fowles. I don't know what this is about. I think it's about a collector and butterflies maybe. Something's just telling me that. But I feel like, is there a movie on this or something? I feel like I'm familiar with it somehow, but I don't know how. So it says, withdrawn, uneducated and unloved, Frederick collects butterflies and takes photographs. He's obsessed with a beautiful stranger, the art student Miranda. When he wins the pools, he buys a remote Sussex house and calmly abducts Miranda, believing she will grow to love him in time. Alone and desperate, Miranda must struggle to overcome her own prejudices and contempt if she is to understand her captor and to gain her freedom. That sounds slightly terrifying. Okay, I also have 2 of these beautiful editions. They match my Day of the Triffids as well, of John Wyndham's books. These are the Chrysalids and the Midwich Cuckoos. The only thing is I kind of struggle to read the joined up writing. So these are the 2 books I have here. The Chrysalids is a post-nuclear apocalyptic story of genetic mutation in a devastated world, and explores the lengths the intolerant will go to keep themselves pure. And this one, The Midwich Cuckoos, is a classic tale of aliens in our midst, exploring how we respond when confronted by those who are innately superior to us in every conceivable way. This is a little random book. This one is Brereton's Phantasmagoria. I can't say this. Phantasmagoria. There we go. A Compendium of Monsters, Myths and Legends by Terry Brereton. I like things like this. It's like, kind of looks old-timey, newspapery stuff. I will dip into this eventually. Every now and then, take my time. I'm sure I've seen this in HMV as well ages ago, and I've been wanting to read it. It just says, from dragons, vampires, werewolves and fairies to flying carpets, lost cities and modern day mysteries, this delightful compendium of over 250 weird and wonderful legends, myths and monsters will entertain and astound anyone enthralled by the unknown. I also have this one, John Agard's book, My Name is Book and I'll Tell You the Story of My Life. That really intrigued me. So, for centuries I've been told other people's stories. Now it's time to tell my own. The story of my adventures on the way to this shelf. I've been dog-eared, laughed over, cried over, banned and burnt, buried under the desert. I've seen civilizations rise and fall, yet I've survived it all. And you'll find, dear reader, my story is a real page turner. That sounds so very like breaking the fourth wall, and I'm kind of here for it, so I hope I enjoy it. My friend Grace said this sounded like a me book, and she was right, because it's been on my radar, and I know it's a slightly older book, but a lot of people have been loving it again on BookTube, and that is The Lies of Lookmora by Scott Lynch. I don't know how many books. Is it 4 books? No, 3 books. There's The Red Seas Under the Red Skies and The Republic Thieves as well. And yeah, it sounds like a really cool like fantasy series, so hopefully I will very much enjoy this. I got a couple of Neil Gaiman. I got Neverwhere, and I also got How the Marquis Got His Coat Back, which is a short story from the Neverwhere series, or Neverwhere book, sorry. I actually saw this one before I saw this one, so it makes sense that I got them both together. Another random in a series, but I have City of Ashes, which is the second book in Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunters, the Immortal Instruments series. I have the first, third and fourth, and they're in different editions, which is annoying, but I don't know if those ones are out of print now, but I kept kind of waiting to see if I could find it. I'm doing the same thing with what's it called? Thorn of Glass, not Thorn of Glass, Thorn of Court and Roses. I was mixing the two series together. The third book particularly, I don't think that the editions I have are in print anymore. I don't know, but anyway, I decided just to get them different one. Eventually, if it really bothers me, I can slowly phase out and get all one looking set, but at the time being, if that's all that's putting me off from reading the book, then I'm just going to get a different edition, you know. But I also got some really cool things here. So I did originally have 2 comics, but one of them I noticed had like this big mark on it, and I really couldn't remember or be bothered to go all the way back to the beginning of the shop or wherever it was and pick up a different copy, so I should have looked properly. But I got another of the Fables books. This is volume 3 of Storybook Love. I don't know what particular series this is, I guess it's, I don't know, but I have loads of random volumes of Fables. I have, I think, what's probably the original where you would start. I have 4 volumes of that, and then there's loads of these spin-off ones, so I just kind of collect some of them when I see them. And I've got these really cool journals. They're called a novel journal, and it's basically like you write between the author's words. I don't know how that makes sense. So I got Dracula, and I got The Picture of Dorian Gray, and basically it says, P.S. the journal lines are the novel in teeny tiny text. So that's what it is. It's almost like if you was a writer yourself, I feel like you'd feel very inspired if you got your favourite book and you basically wrote in between the lines of the story. How cool is that? I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but so it says, when poor Southwark got into the divorce court, their indignation was quite magnificent, and yet I don't suppose that 10% of the proletariat live correctly. So yeah, it's literally the story of Dracula. No, this is The Picture of Dorian Gray, but the other one is the story of Dracula, and yeah, I think that's so cool. I don't know, that's made me chuckle, and I feel like it could inspire some writers if you've physically got your favourite book that you're writing in between the lines of, you know. Fabulous stuff. Very innovative. Innovative, I can never say that word. Okay, right, I have some, what are these? Literary fiction, and I have some books on race and class, and yeah, that's my next sort of section, I think. So, I have I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness by Austen Shannon Brown. This book is my story about growing up in a black girl's body. My story is about choosing to love my black femaleness, even when it shocks folks who expected someone quite different. It's about surviving in a world not made for me. I offer this story in hope that we will embody a community eager to name whiteness, celebrate blackness, and in a world still governed by systems of racial oppression, begin to see that there's another way. I love how this feels like it's taking quite a positive turn, and like, we can do this, we can change this. I like that. So I hope I enjoy the contents of that. And then I picked up this one, Mixed Other by Natalie Morris. The population is the fastest growing group in the UK today, but the mainstream conversation around mixedness is stilted, repetitive, and often problematic. At a time where ethnically ambiguous models fill our Instagram feeds and our high street shop windows, and when children of interracial relationships are lauded as heralding in the dawn of a past racial utopia, journalist Natalie Morris takes a deep dive into what it really means to be mixed in Britain today. That sounds fucking fantastic, honestly. I'm very, very intrigued about this. I have Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. I've been wanting to read this for a while anyway. I don't really know what it's about, but it intrigues me, and I've been interested in the convenience store woman as well. I hear quite a lot of praise for this author. This one says, Natsuki isn't like the other girls. Oh, I hate that line. Together with her cousin Yu, she spends her summers in the wild Nagano mountains, hoping a spaceship will take her home. Okay, maybe she isn't like the other girls. When a terrible sequence of events threatens to part the cousins forever, they make a promise: survive no matter what. Now Natsuki has grown, she lives quietly in an asexual marriage, pretending to be normal, hiding the horrors of her childhood from her family and friends. But dark shadows from Natsuki's past are pursuing her. Fleeing the suburbs for the mountains of Nagano, Natsuki prepares herself for a reunion with Yu. Will he still remember their promise, and will he help her keep it? Oh, it sounds creepy. Oh, that sounds really eerie. I'm intrigued. Then I have this one. So I was really umming and erming about picking this one up because I read Me, Earl and the Dying Girl by this author and really did not like it. But this seems completely different. It's been years, it's a different vibe, it's a different story, different genre. I might enjoy it. And I hadn't heard of this. I think it's a relatively new release. I didn't hear about it. But it's called Mun, Get Rich, Get Big by Jessie Andrews. And this one, it sounded fascinating. So, in an alternate reality, a lot like our world, every person's physical size is directly proportional to their wealth. The poorest of the poor are the size of rats, and the billionaires are the size of skyscrapers. I feel like that's just how I want to leave it. I know we're following a pair of sisters that are poor and very small, and they've got to worry about like cats eating them and stuff like that, as well as their actual financial problems. But that in itself just intrigues me. And then to further intrigue me, like, you have the size guide of the people in this universe, this world. How interesting. I'm so intrigued. Right, hopefully I love that and it's turnaround for me and this author. Then another one that I've been interested in picking up is The Wall by John Lancaster. And this one says, it seemed very on the nose of what was happening in recent political news. The best thing that can happen is... Oh, I need to read the first part first. Kavana begins his life patrolling the wall. If he's lucky, if nothing goes wrong, he only has 2 years of this. 729 more years. More nights. Nights. The best thing that can happen is that he survives and gets off the wall and never has to spend another day of his life anywhere near it. He longs for this to be over, longs to be somewhere else. He will soon find out what defenders do and what the others are. Along with the rest of his squad, he will endure cold and fear day after day, night after night, but somewhere in the dark cave of his mind, he thinks, wouldn't it be interesting if something did happen? If they came? If you had to fight for your life? Oh, that sounds creepy! Creepy! But also, I feel like it is supposed to symbolise, you know, Donald Trump building this wall and like keeping people out of the country and stuff like that. I think, and then that makes me think of this episode of Black Mirror where they were fighting these monsters, and man, that's a messed up episode. I can't remember the name of it, but if you've watched that episode, that made me cry. Anyway, so next up I have this one, which was an interesting, I've never heard of it before, but it's called The Singing Bones by Sean Tan, and it's art inspired by Grimm's fairy tales, which is super cool. I had a little flick through when I was looking at it, and yeah, so I didn't know if it had the full story around it or what, but it looks like it might just have a little section of some of the Grimm stories and then the artwork kind of as the main centerpiece, which is fascinating. What a really cool concept. I like that. We're nearly coming to the end, folks. We're nearly there. You've done so well sticking through this. This next last lot is pretty much all middle grade children's kind of books, and I believe this is a children's books. I mean, I think so. I'm pretty sure it is. This is Sally Gardner's Tinder with the drawings by David Roberts, and it's not the Tinder you and I as adults know. Oh no. Wounded in battle, Otto Howdee-haie defies death and finds himself on a journey to a realm of dark magic and mystery. He meets Sapphire, brave of heart and pure of spirit, and learns the powers of the tinderbox and the secrets of the wolves. This sounds so cool. I love magical shit like this. Right, I think I'm going to enjoy that one. Then I saw this and I was very excited because I've just finished reading the Land of Stories series as a buddy read with Kat from Kat's Reading Corner, and I knew they had some spin-offs, and I knew there was some new books being written and things like that. So I saw one of the spin-offs, and it is The Land of Stories, The Ultimate Book Hugger's Guide by Chris Colfer, and yeah, it's just following the book huggers who were my least favourite characters, but it's just, you know, a little companion book to the series. Oh, it's got really cool illustrations of the characters, and basically they are these obsessive group of girls who are obsessed with the Bailey twins and what they're covering, even though it's none of their business. And I think this is just like all their collected information, which sounds fun. I got a lot of Enid Blyton stuff, so I got some of the Secret Stories series. Don't know what these are about, don't know if you have to read them in a specific order, but I like Enid Blyton and I want to read more by her, so I've got The Secret Island, The Secret Forest, I really like these editions, The Secret of Mooncastle, which I swear is a film, and The Secret of Spiggy Holes. And then in these other editions I have The Mystery of the Vanished Prince and The Mystery of the Invisible Thief. I also picked up the sequel in the what are they called, the Wolf Brother series by Michelle Paver. This is Spiritwalker. I think this is the second one. They had loads of her books there, but they were missing the third, and I was like, do I want to commit to buying the whole of the series without the third one, and then that's going to stop me? So I just thought, let me not be greedy and just buy the sequel. It is a series I've been wanting to continue on with, but I was just going to, you know, test my luck at the library, but then I saw these and I thought, let me at least get this whilst it's there. I also picked up this one. I feel like I recognise the title and the cover, but I can't entirely remember. This is called Heart Song by Kevin Crossley Holland and Jane Ray. Sorry. This is a spellbinding tale of music and magic. I thought it sounded really quaint. It's about an orphan with no voice but an extraordinary talent. A man of music who discovers her gift, and as the seasons turn, dark turns to light and miracles happen. It's set against the mystery and beauty of 18th century Venice. It's an atmospheric tale about the healing power of music, and it's inspired by the life of the composer Vivaldi. Just to finish up this book haul, I have 3 books by Abby Elphinstone, who I've been wanting to read more of for ages. Kat from Kat's Reading Corner loves her books, so I've seen some of these and I want to grab them. We have The Dream Snatcher. I don't know if these are all part of the series or anything like this. The Shadow Keeper and The Night Spinner. So that is it for this massive haul. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, let me know if you've read any of these, your reviews, your thoughts and opinions, what I should prioritise, if you want any reading vlogs, if you want any dedicated reviews. I would love to know. Thank you for watching, and I shall speak to you in another video soon. Bye.